Hi guys, stopping by with our DIY Friday video. Just want to share with you a little bit about what I did this spring when we were all locked in our homes with very little to do and not great weather. Figured it was a great time to start my vegetable garden. I normally do flowers. This year I thought it would be fun to do something with vegetables. Have never been successful growing them from seed, so I did a little bit of reading, tried a few new tricks, and everything actually turned out really, really well. A couple tricks that I learned. The importance of a grow light. You might try starting seeds from home. They make it real lanky, they're leaning toward the sun, they're not getting enough light close up to the plant. So once the seeds germinate, you want to make sure you have that grow light available, and really you want it just like about 2 inches from the soil. So if you need to lift this up a bit, you can. So the grow light was absolutely key. Starting with the right soil is really important. So this is seed starting mix. It's not your typical Miracle-Gro potting soil. It's different for the seeds. What I did was to mix this with boiling water to make sure we killed off any microbes. We don't want things growing in there and causing problems for the new seeds. So seed starter mix, make sure you read instructions with that and use that appropriately. I use something really simple, and this is still a little dirty from the seedlings that I had, but very inexpensive from a local, do-it-yourself shop, Home Depot, Menards, Fleet Farm, that sort of thing. Fill these with the seed starter, and really just you lay the seeds on top of the soil, and then sprinkle a little bit of more soil on top of that. So we're not going to be digging holes and planting because it's hard to measure what 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch is. So put the seeds on top, sprinkled a little bit more soil on top as well. And you really want to be watering these guys from the bottom. So we don't want to be pouring buckets of water over the top and causing the seeds to break loose. So you can water from the bottom, and actually they stay nice and damp, especially when you keep the cover on like this. So you're going to keep that on for the first week or so while they're germinating. Once they germinate, you want to remove the cover and keep them under the grow light for 12 to 15 hours a day. Think about putting that on a timer so that you're not turning it on and off. And just keep an eye on them, make sure that the soil stays damp. The grow light's on 12 to 15 hours a day, and once they reach the point where they have about 4 leaves is when you're going to do the transplanting. So once the plants get to the point where they have their first pair of leaves and then one more pair, that's a perfect time to think about transplanting them. And there's a couple different things you can use. You can simply use styrofoam cups if that's all that you have around. The dog likes to get in on the action. Poke holes in the bottom of those again so that you're going to be able to water those from the bottom. I picked up some of these trays from Amazon. They work great. They already have the holes in them. I'll reuse these again next year so nothing really goes to waste. It's a nice size, and you can see these plants get really quite good size in them. I have tomato plants that are much larger, you'll see in a minute. So this is kind of the last pot that they'll probably be in before they go into the ground. Okay, so again, once that first set of leaves is there and then one more set, you're going to want to start splitting them up and giving them a little bit more room to grow. So the process gets a little bit more space intensive as the plants get larger, so you want to plan ahead for that too. So after a short while, after they've been transplanted, these plants really start to get quite a few more sets of leaves. This was probably about the end of April, and obviously it wasn't warm enough yet to be thinking about putting plants outside, and certainly not in the ground. So I came up with a couple of ideas. This is just a simple cold frame that I got in a kit and put together. The lid raises and lowers. You want to make sure you don't keep this thing down tight and that your plants aren't just baking in them. So it's good to have a little bit of air circulating through there. Honestly, I had plants out here when it was 45, 50 degrees, very easily left them out all day to get sunshine. So the cold frame is one great option. And then the other one is this portable greenhouse. This guy is kind of fun. So it has 4 different shelves, and so you can move plants up and down depending on where they are in their growth cycle, if they need more sun or less. It also allows you to zip this up, allow more air circulation, especially on the days that get really warm. But the neat thing was, even when it was like 45 degrees out, when the plants were watered and this was zipped up and it was in the sun, there was all sorts of condensation on the inside, and it was just like a tropical climate inside there for the plants to be growing in, even when it was super cold out. So that's really why I believe I have plants that are are super mature at this point. They're this big and much bigger. It's just a matter of sticking with them, making sure you know what they need at each stage. And next year, because I know how to do it a little bit better, probably won't end up with 150 tomato plants. I'll be able to have a few more different varieties of things. So if you have questions about this process, let me know. It's super fun. It's a great thing for families to do together. Fun thing you can plan for next year and get all of your gear in place. But do let me know if you have questions. Would love to be of some help. Take care.